Hey, good morning, everybody. It is before daybreak. In fact, somebody might come out here and say, hey, quiet down a little bit. We're trying to sleep. It's great to be with you. I'm here in Surfside, California, and we have got so many great stories for you here this morning. A 53-pound Dorado taken in SoCal. We've got a special report already up, but I'll go back over that. A 91-pound wahoo for my friend Sean Morgan as he's traveling down the Baja coast. We're going to put you live on board the Wild Sack this morning. He's looking for a wahoo off Todos Santos, not the one off of Ensenada, but the one down there near the tip of the peninsula, about 900 miles from here. So he's way down there. We'll let you jump on board with him and see if we can come up with a wahoo this morning as jigs are in the water. We've got the San Diego scene, the Ensenada scene. We have got our October 23rd 1 million view celebration at 22nd Street, and so much more. You know what it's time for. It's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Hey everybody, great to be back with you. In between shooting that last scene and right now, our graphics department, we spare no funds at all for a great graphics department. They just handed me a note. Let me show it to you all. Wow, what a graphics department. Hey everybody, 1 million views. We have achieved that. We thank you so much. As you see, our graphics department down on the bottom is pointing out that we have our October 23rd celebration at 22nd Street Landing. We've hit that million way earlier than I anticipated because all of you have been tuning in and sharing videos and liking our videos. I can't thank you enough. Hit that like button right now. It really helps us a lot. Starting to move up on 5,000 people who watched yesterday's morning briefing. A couple of morning briefings ago, up there around 17,000 of you tuned in. Really can't thank you enough. From the bottom of my heart, I really, really want to thank you. All right, hold on. I want to grab my notes and get into this with you all because there is some tremendous stuff going on. I highly recommend you go back and take a look at that great catch, that 53-pound local Dorado that Davis Strong made here on board the Trident out of LA waterfront sport fishing. Man, what a catch. 53-pound local Dorado. I don't know if I've ever heard of one that big. That's a magnificent catch. Sean Morgan is rolling down the Baja coast right now. He had a 91-pound wahoo. That's a nice one yesterday. He said that from the west end of Cedros Island. So for those of you not real familiar with the Baja area, that's about 250 miles south of San Diego. From there, all the way down to where he found himself, Uncle Sam Bank, the Ridge. Now, we're talking 600, 700 miles. He said it was solid Dorado. He said it's like the 90s all over again. He's never seen it this good. They'd put 4 jigs in the water. They couldn't go more than a minute without a quadruple jig strike on the Dorado. If you think about that, there's Dorado from there and beyond, because he's been catching Dorado this morning again, all the way up to the Southern California area. You talk about a fishery that appears to be in fantastic shape, and it's the Dorado fishery. All right, let me throw you on board the Wild Sack right now. Sean's got a beautiful morning on his hands. It's sunrise down there as he rolls up on Todos Santos, which is really close to the end of the Baja Peninsula on the Pacific side. Then he'll make the turn and go around into San Jose del Cabo on the Gulf side. But right now, I'll throw you on board with Sean and let him wish you a good morning.
Okay, good morning. The Adventures of Gilligan here. We're traveling the Baja Peninsula. Phenomenal day yesterday. Lots of Dorado, big wahoo, and tuna. Just about everything. Sun's coming up here. We're outside of Todos Santos, a spot called Finger Bank. Water temperature today is 81 degrees. Going over some shit right now. There's the finger, or kind of. I don't know where we're at actually. Let me zoom out a little bit and see where the hell we're at. There we are. All right, anyways, there's a couple rocks we're going to go over. Got the radar going, but beautiful morning. Little bit of wind to step outside here. I told the guys put the lines out. We got about a 25 knot breeze here. Beautiful moon. My Starlink, got that thing up and running so I can talk to you guys. But good morning. We'll give you an update later. But best time for wahoo is right now. Early bird gets the worm for wahoo. Got a boat in front of us. But looks like a windy day today. It's not going to keep us down today. And then we're going to be into Cabo later today. All right, back at you later. Good morning, everybody. Out.
All right, Sean, thanks so much. Hopefully he'll come up with some who. We'll be staying in touch with him all day long. Any special updates, we'll have them here for you on the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. Remember, hit that like button. We really appreciate all that you are doing. James Mosier from Newport Landing. He plays our show all the time down there at Newport Landing. We deeply appreciate that. James was just out on a 10-day rock cod exploratory kind of trip. They took scientists out there. They wanted to see how healthy everything was in terms of the rock cod fishery. He's going to be live Tuesday night on Friedman Adventures Live. Tuesday night, 6 p.m. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to find out what he saw, what he thinks, what the scientists think, and what the future of our rockfish fishery and whether we're going to close down or not close down. We're going to look at a lot of that Tuesday night, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. live from 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California. James, looking forward to having you on, my friend. He's an awesome guy. Let me take you now south of the border. We'll start you out in Ensenada. We've already seen way down at the end of the peninsula and Blackfin charters there at Punta Banda. Victor sent these photos. He said, Phil, it's really good. 15, 20 miles from Todos Santos. Now, those are the islands off Ensenada, and that's about, if you were going to drive down to Ensenada, I believe it's about a 90-mile drive, something like that. Maybe not even that far, 60, I think. It's a quick run down there. Cross the border, 60 miles, you're in Ensenada. Todos Santos Islands right there. They're catching good big bonita, yellowfin tuna, and Dorado. He says it has been fantastic. 40-pound is the way to go. Now, I'm going to give you some tackle recommendations for down there. They apply to the offshore scene up here also. 40-pound 2-0 size hook, a good hot bait, that works really well. Also, a lot of iron fish. You're fishing iron. I don't want to see you dropping with anything less than 50, but you definitely could bump it up to 60. Something with chrome in it works really good for the yellowfin tuna. Something a little heavier, you get bit on a surface iron, but remember, when you see all that fish on the surface, sometimes that's literally the tip of the iceberg. You want to sink that jig down, wind it through the main body of fish. Your hookup ratio goes up, 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 up when you go through more fish. Pretty logical. So something a little heavy with some chrome in it. Dawasacanas are really good. A bunch of tatty lures have been working really, really well. Excellent fishing going on down there for Victor, and we love to see that. Now, also bring some lighter tackle because you're going to hit kelp, especially here in the LA, or not especially here, I mean Baja too. Bring some light stuff, some 20-pound. We like fluorocarbon leaders. They work so much better. They're abrasive resistant and they get bit better. So, you know, we love Opsin here, www.opsinusa.com. Put in FA at checkout. You'll get a note from Greg Brown as well as a free gift. Do that and you're going to be in good shape. And bring some smaller hooks also, all the way down to a number 2 size hook, just in case the intensity of the bite drops off, the grade of the fish is a little bit smaller, you're on a kelp and you see them but they don't want to bite. That's when you got to get tougher. Really take your time at the bait tank, go down to the lighter stuff, and then you should be able to get a bite. It's a dangerous game you're playing, however, because if you hang a 60-pound bluefin or yellowfin on 15 or 20-pound, you're pretty much history. You can still get them, but you're going to have a lot of guys on the boat going, dude, pull on that fish, man. We want to get moving here. Get on to the next kelp. Get on to the next school. Find some more dolphin that are holding yellowfin tuna. So keep that in mind. You know, it's a dicey game you're playing there. If you're new to the game, get with a crew member. It makes all the difference in the world. Hey, let me take my hat off to Anthony Amalfitano who of course is a big part of the Friedman Adventures family, caught his first bluefin tuna. We're so happy to see it. He was out on a private boat, and he's had, you know, a broken hand and all kinds of stuff. He's the guy that asks the great trivia questions about the morning briefing, questions that I can't answer. I mean, he's really great. He's a funny guy, and we're so blessed to have him with us, and so happy that he was able to nail that nice fish. All right, so let's talk some scores out of San Diego now, because overall, yesterday was a lot of misses. There's some really great fishing, don't get me wrong, but there's some misses. And while that is typical of kelp patty fishing, you know, you got to find that right kelp patty, it still was a situation yesterday where I saw it dip a little bit. Now, a lot of guys are looking and listening to this saying, I was on a trip, we limited out, it was fantastic, it was wonderful. There were those experiences, we're going to talk about those. But there's other guys who are watching this going, yeah, I had one of those days yesterday. So it's just part of the whole experience. Remember, if you base your fishing trip on catching fish, you're going to have a lot of misery in your future. If you base it on the adventure and meeting new friends and being out on the water and being away from work, you're never going to have a bad day. All right, let's get into some of this now with you. The Fury yesterday, Dana Wharf Sport Fishing, man, nice trip. All right, they ended up with 45 yellowfin tuna, 8 Dorado. The YFT up here in this neck of the woods is mostly good grade, 25 to 60 pounds. Beautiful fish. You don't want to hook those things on anything less than 40. If you have to drop down to 25 to get a bite, you may have to do that. You can pull really hard on 25. I mean, you'll talk to your guy when you're out there, but you can button down and pull pretty damn hard on 25 pounds. So keep that in mind. The San Diego, leaving in the morning, coming back in the evening out of Seaforth Sport Fishing, 8 bluefin, 8 yellowfin, limits on the flatheads, limits on the Dorado. Some of these kelps are enormous down there, down the Baja coast, and they're dry. I mean, you see them off in the distance and you're just so positive that it's going to happen for you, and it doesn't happen. So once in a while, you got to wait and wait and wait until you find that right kelp. It can be a little frustrating, but that's what you have to do. On board the Thunderbird, good quality Dorado yesterday, yellowfin tuna on the Dolphin. They started looking for bluefin, found a couple of schools, and then didn't see all that much, so they decided to go south, and they were lucky enough to find a nice kelp holding good quality Dorado. And of course, Dorado grow so fast you can measure their growth on a daily basis. That's how fast. A 2-year-old Dorado could be 40 pounds or bigger, and that's about the end of their lifespan. I know it says 4 years, but 4-year-old Dorados are pretty rare. 2-3 years and they're adios. So you know how fast they're growing, because you see them up to 60 pounds. That beautiful 53-pounder was probably a fish 2 to 3 years old. Pretty amazing how fast they grow, and we're seeing more and more of that. The Grande ran a 1.5-day trip out of San Diego, and they decided to go down south, and with 32 anglers, 98 on the yellowfin tuna, yellowtail, 64 Dorado for limits on the flatheads. A lot of that yellowfin, it's mixed. There's 5 to 10 pound YFT down south, and then there's that 25 to 60 pound. The bluefin tuna, 25 to 60 pounds for the most part. There's quite a bit of marlin running around down there. It's really good. El Dorado up here out of Long Beach, 6 yellowfin, 25 on the Dorado. The Freedom on a 2-day trip, 88 Dorado, 24 yellowfin, 8 bluefin tuna. Had fish to 200 pounds. Enterprise yesterday. Pier Point Landing, great local day for them, as they had 100 plus on the Dorado, and it simply can't get any better than that. So if you're departing this morning, or you're heading out here shortly, next couple of days, you've got a chance at finding a kelp like that. And I'll tell you, for a local bud out of Southern California, I'll take that opportunity. I'll take that chance. We don't get them, we don't get them. I'll go again. Really extraordinary fishing on the Enterprise. Sport King, 8 guys, 13 on the Dorado. Tornado had pretty good bluefin tuna fishing. They had 2 over 200 pounds, pretty good, damn good, and 4 over 100 pounds. And then the rest of their catch was in the 30 to 50 pound class. The Freelance yesterday, they took a group of novice anglers out, so it's dicey, but they still had 2 Dorado per angler. That is some great fishing. Of course, the limit in Baja is 2 per rod. The limit here in the U.S. is 10 Dorado per rod. So there is some pretty darn good fishing going on, and there are those misses. So vary your tackle, have the lighter stuff, have the heavier stuff. That's going to make all the difference in the world to you. So great stuff going on, no question about it. Let's talk islands. Todos Santos. Now we're talking about off of Ensenada, 60 miles south of the border. There's really good yellow action, big bonita crawling all over that place, and calico bass, but everybody's zooming right past it and going offshore, and you can hardly blame them on that one with all that great offshore fishing. Coronado Islands, great yellowtail fishing going on there. Boats anywhere from 25 to 60, 70, 98. That's what the Grande had there the other day. They're yo-yo fish, so they're deep, so a heavy jig down deep, wind on it fast, and man, wait till they just thump on that iron. There's nothing more fun than that. It's awesome fishing right now. And also dropper loop fish, so dropping down with a dropper loop, 6-ounce torpedo, 4-ounce torpedo. And you know, sometimes you're hooking a yellow, sometimes you're hooking a ling, sometimes you're hooking a rockfish. Coronado Islands, can't say enough about it. A lot of guys zooming right past that also because of the phenomenal Dorado fishing and everything else. Up here, we're looking at San Clemente Island, some decent fishing going on in the short water, 50, 60 feet, a lot of yellows in there, a lot of casualty rates, so you got to really fish the heavy. If you can get a bite on 40 pound, you've got a better chance of stopping those 12 to 20 pound yellowtail. Good hot bait and a fly line has been the way to do it there. Catalina Island, iffy, it's been up and down all year long. Still, you have a shot at some bonita, some bigger bonita now, but also a lot of smaller bonita. Calico bass bites, not great. And just picking at the rockfish and that kind of thing. Once again, on the way to Cat, around Cat, you got a very good chance of catching Dorado. Some guys are dedicated to offshore. Some guys are like looking, and if they don't see it happening, they're going into the island. So you can see what the Enterprise did yesterday with that 100+ count on the Dorado. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that. Up there in the Channel Islands, really good rock fishing going on. Also, still that flurry of white sea bass is possible. One boat up there with 6 white sea bass yesterday. So there are those catches of WSBs, few halibut, and offshore, there's still some tuna. Tucker McComb's reporting they're catching some daytime fish. So hopefully that fish will switch over and not bite so much at night, that big bluefin, and start biting in the daytime. The Aloha Spirit had 4 the other day, bluefin, and there's a lot of that around up there, so don't count that out. Speaking of that nighttime bluefin, it is still pretty good, but there was a lot of misses here recently. You're still fishing 100-pound with 200-pound leaders, knife jigs from 200 to 500 grams, flat falls, and all those other jigs. SK Daiwa jigs working really, really well. It's that nighttime bite that has been really good, and we have continued to see a lot of those 200-pound fish. That is absolutely magnificent. I don't know how you can get it any better than that. Along the coast, down there in Ensenada, good calico fishing. San Diego, big bonita with some good flashes of big yellowtail. Also calico bass along most of the coastline. Private boaters doing better than the sport boats, but sport boats are picking up a few fish here and there. Also, as we move you up to Redondo, good calico bass fishing on shorts, but quite a few legals. And if you're fishing light line and choosing a good hot bait, you can get a limit out of there, or Marina del Rey. Up there in the Channel Islands, Island Spirit with good rock fishing along the coast. Here in the surf, some really good Corvina fishing all over the place. Warm water, presenting a natural bait right in front of their little nose is a good way to go. Right up the street here, big fish bait and tackle. They've got everything you need to make it happen. Ghost shrimp and all kinds of other baits. You can find sand crabs, digging them up yourself, save some money, or dig up some sandworms. That's also a very good way to make things happen. So some extraordinary fishing going on, no question about it, but there were quite a few misses. Dana Warsword fishing's been on a roll, but they were down a little bit yesterday. Are they going to get back on it again? The other day we had a similar dip, and I was like, uh-oh, this is it. We're dead. And it came roaring back. So it could be that those fish moved off a little ways. It could be that guys just had trouble finding kelp. It could be a signal that we're nearing the end. I'm not quite sure about that. We'll find out as we go along. All right, 1 million. Thank you so much for that, everybody. And we're going to continue to build on that. Almost 5,000 of you joining us on the morning briefing yesterday. And I really can't thank you enough. How about I take you and put you back on board the Wild in Sac. Last night's sunset was gorgeous, and Sean Morgan has some words of wisdom for all of you. Can't thank you enough for joining us here on The Morning Briefing. As always, I deeply appreciate your great support. Hit that like button and share this video with a friend, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so that when we put up new content, breaking news or anything like that, you'll be notified and you'll be able to jump on with us. Check out that 53-pound Dorado video. You're going to like that. And that 91-pound wahoo video. I know you're going to like that also. Have a wonderful start to your week, a great Monday morning, and I hope to see you really, really soon.
That's right, nothing's better than a Silverado Saturday night. Nothing's better than a Silverado.